The grid is absorbing an incredible amount of new load. We passed 50 million electric vehicles on the road in 2024. Data center usage is tracking to quintuple by 2040, and global cooling demand will triple by 2060. Meeting this demand means relying heavily on utility-scale solar. But as these plants scale, the primary threats to their viability are shifting away from catastrophic weather events toward overlooked operational defects and regulatory penalties. To protect financial returns heading into 2026, developers and financiers must prioritize ground-level engineering and supply chain realities over outdated performance assumptions. This map shows that for 52% of the contiguous U.S., standard 2mm glass modules cannot survive regional hail exposure. In the highest risk zones, covering 13%, projects require hail-hardened glass and the flawless execution of a 70-degree defensive stow. Relying entirely on that stow angle is a major vulnerability. Moving panels into a defensive posture depends on software algorithms, site weather sensors, and operational timing, all of which routinely fail when severe storms hit. Upgrading to thicker, hail-hardened glass raises the physical threshold for breakage, providing a passive failsafe that human operations cannot guarantee. Compared to the USDA wildfire map, only 4% of solar plant fires occur in designated high-risk zones. Instead, 84% are equipment-driven brush fires igniting internally. Inverters cause 44% of these fires, with 3/4 involving just one manufacturer. True fire mitigation requires focusing on rigorous equipment selection and site-level vegetation management over regional geography. Base compliance testing systematically underestimates the structural fatigue that erodes plant performance, particularly in hurricane-prone areas. This schematic demonstrates the problem. A standard tracker rail passes the industry-standard 1,000-cycle fatigue test with no visible damage. But run that same rail to 2,000 cycles, and severe, plant-threatening stress fractures spread rapidly. Similar unaccounted stresses happen daily. 3-second wind gusts frequently force trackers into defensive stow, causing the panels to twist and cast uneven shadows. This dynamic movement, entirely missed by hourly weather models, reduces total annualized yield by up to 4%. Yield losses compound when you factor in the electrical system. Inverter shutdowns are the single most common operational fault, responsible for 28% of all recoverable energy losses across a plant. Furthermore, the highly variable energy loads of a solar farm also cause rapid physical degradation at the grid connection point. Recent data shows that 34% of re-inspected plant substations have critical anomalies requiring immediate action. Financial models relying on hourly wind averages and baseline structural tests drastically overpromise the actual energy these plants will generate. This chart exposes the risk in standard yield projections. Financial models typically assume a steady, linear rate of hardware degradation. In reality, actual defect rates spike sharply after the project's 7th year. Projects face an immediate regulatory cliff alongside these operational risks. Strict new prohibited foreign entity rules take effect in 2026. Non-compliance triggers severe penalties of $1 million per day for developers. Currently, only 38% of the industry is prepared to meet these requirements. A combination of accelerating equipment failures and massive compliance fines will instantly break the tight debt service coverage ratios that hold project financing together. Maintaining asset viability requires specifying hardened glass for high hail zones, demanding advanced structural fatigue testing, and completing rigorous supply chain audits before the new entity rules hit. Securing long-term project viability requires moving risk management into core engineering and procurement functions from day